It's not.
Yeah, I'm just gonna start it now and just talk, but
Listen, bro, let's start.
I got a good name for this episode, by the way.
What is it?
Conspiracies and Coffee, or Coffee and Conspiracies. I don't know if you want that one.
Caffeine and nicotine equals protein.
I love that, bro. Well, it's funny because we were just talking off off the air and about Japan, right?
Yeah.
So I heard something so interesting.
What?
First, let me
What about Japan?
let me just address you. Today's guest, welcome to the Millennial Rolodex, is the infamous Vinny Lafada, aka my cousin, aka the most knowledgeable conspiracy theorist I know, possibly on the earth.
Close.
Possibly on the earth. I don't know.
Close.
So, conspiracies and coffee. Do you like that?
I love it, bro.
It's good.
Listen,
right?
I'm happy to be here. You know, it's gonna be a great podcast. Got a lot to talk about.
Yeah, we do.
A lot of conspiracies going on. You know, conspiracies are more like fact. I feel like today.
Yeah.
You know, like more than fiction. They're more like fact. The more you look into them.
So when it's so funny that you say that because I don't know anything, and I say this all the time to everybody. I don't know one thing. If you tell me a good story, you say, "Hey, this happened," I'll listen to you, and I'll be very present with you and with there. I'll really oh, that's interesting. And I feel like when people think that they know something, like this is the in general. Oh, we went to the moon. Right? That's a big conspiracy theory, right? We went to the moon. No, we didn't go to the moon. Oh, you're one of those people? Okay, right? And that to me is like you shut off your brain to hearing something.
Right.
You know?
You dismiss it right away.
You dismiss it. Like, oh, you're one of these people. Like, you play, like, oh, I'm going to put you in a special category. So that was just an example. So I can never do that. I have to always be like...
Yeah, if you do that, where's the room for growth?
Yeah.
You know, you can't grow if you do that. You know, me and you are very similar in that way. We always want to know, like, the ins and outs of the world, and curiosity is a big thing for us, you know. Yeah.
Yeah, so what you said, too, like, conspiracies are... I've heard, like, people talk, conspiracies are just facts that we haven't found out yet. And that kind of reminds me of what you said.
That's very true, too. I mean, the more you did, because, you know, today is the age of information, right? I mean, you could just Google everything you think, and it's more readily available to us than it was in the past, you know? So now you're access to all this information, and, you know, like our parents didn't have this growing up, our grandparents didn't have, they just blindly trusted everything they were told, you know? And now there's so much information out, and you could do your own research, you know? And those people who put you in that box, they don't really do their own research. You know, they kind of, well, you know, they might, but yeah, we're not that type of people that put people in the box. We want to know every little detail. You know, we want to see what the world is about. You know, we have a very interesting and unique way of looking at the world, you know, so.
So it's so funny that you said that, because I actually was listening to Sam Tripoli. He was on Danny Jones's podcast. That's like I was telling you about him before we started, and they brought up something. They were like, it's so funny how all of these basketball players are like at a basketball game dabbing up Barack Obama and saying, and they're like, bro, do you know, like, he killed a person illegally. He assassinated somebody illegally in their country, and he
You're saying Barack Obama?
Barack Obama did this. Right. That's what I'm saying. And he started whatever he did. I'm not saying, I don't know this, but this is what they're saying. Whatever he did when he was a president, like bombing everybody. He was like, I heard he was the president who bombed the most people.
He did, yeah.
And whatever you think about that.
And deported the most people.
Yeah, a lot. People don't know that. But whatever you think about him, I'm not going to get into that. But for me personally, he also, like, whatever he did there, it started like a slave trade almost with those countries, and these NBA players are dabbing him up. But people, like, to go what you just said, people don't know that's what happened.
Right.
And they're too busy playing basketball or training or looking cool or doing something that they can't sit there and be like, oh, let me look at all the things Barack Obama did. I just see him. He's a cool president, and that's dope to me.
Right.
That's most people.
That's all surface level.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? They don't
exactly.
do digging and see what's behind the curtain.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. But I feel like a lot more people today are waking up.
Dude.
There's a lot more people that are being hip to this. Like I said before, this is the age of information. So a lot more people are being, exposed to this stuff. And a lot more people are waking up, which is good.
Do you know how many people, do you know what made me understand that this is happening? How many people said to me, we're in New York, we had 2 crazy blizzards.
Yeah.
Just recently.
Crazy. 18 inches.
Yeah, dude, no, nuts.
And another, another foot, the one before. It's insane.
So, you know how many random people that I talk to are saying that the government did it? And that's how you know that people are looking at things, bro.
Yeah, that's so funny, bro.
Like, I was talking to one of my boys at work, and he was like, I was just like, yo, hey, I was like, we're getting another blizzard. And when I talk to people, because I'm crazy.
Yeah, of course.
So when I talk to people, I try to gauge how crazy they are.
Right, you want to gauge their craziness.
Yeah. So I said, yo, we're getting another blizzard. And he kind of gave me a look, and he was like, and I'm cool. Like, we talk about a lot of stuff, me and this guy. He was like looking at me, he's like, yeah, man. Yo, my brother said that, they might be doing this intentionally. Yeah. And I was like, bro, I think
birds
they are.
ain't real. Right, I know.
Dude, it's so funny.
Because it's like we've been lied to so many times. It's like you don't know what's real anymore. You really don't. You question reality on such a level that it's kind of scary. You know?
Oh.
It's like you question everything. Like, is that real? This real? And I think that's all by design.
Dude.
This world is a crazy, crazy world, and it's not all what it seems.
Yeah.
And you can...
Yeah, you're good.
And you can definitely go down some rabbit holes. But yeah, the world is definitely not what it seems.
So
it's very interesting.
So it's funny that you say that too, because I heard somebody I think it was the same podcast that I was listening to. You could just get all your information from this one podcast because he's a psycho. If you know conspiracy theories, you know Sam Tripoli, guys. You just know. He was saying that one of the biggest ones is the elites are trying to make it look like they're the ones orchestrating everything, which they're really not the ones orchestrating everything. Yeah,
this guy,
him. Yeah. He usually wears a hat and stuff. But
I've seen him.
Yeah. And his voice is very distinct. So if you heard his voice, but. It's good. You're like the Jamie of this podcast. And you're also
pull it up, Jamie.
Pull it up, Chenzo. So that's the thing. So by design, they're wanting it to look like we're doing all this stuff. Don't we have all this power, but realistically, there's something else at play that they don't have control over.
Right.
Right.
These people, and what I mean by these people is you have the elites of the world, right? You have. The politics of the smoke and mirrors. It's like the magician, he's doing his trick over here, but you see the smoke and all is happening over here, but really the trick's happening over there, right? It's an act.
Yeah.
So that's what politics is. It's smoke. But really there are people behind the scenes that are pulling the strings, all these ancient families that go back hundreds of years, and these people think generationally, right? Yeah. They don't think about tomorrow, they think 20 years ahead. So they do everything incrementally to where you can't even see the change happening in real time until we're already there, So they do things so slow to where, there's so many instances where, like drunk driving, right? You were able to drink. Actually, that's a bad example. I don't have any examples off the top of my head, but,
And what are you what do you mean?
Well, I'm saying... like control, right? These people control the narrative. They control, like Rockefeller. Right? That's a good example. Like Rockefeller, right? So I have it in my notes here. He started with the oil, right? He was Rockefeller was an oil guy, right? And then, like all the pharmaceutical company, they would have like holistic medicines.
Oh, yeah.
Right? So he was an oil guy. He was like, all right, how do I also expand my oil empire? So he, through donations, and he gave millions of dollars to the pharmaceutical company. And he then created the pharmaceutical company we know today with oil-based products. So now you get rid of all the holistic remedies that people were using for thousands of years, and now you have modern medicine, which is very good. You know, it saves a lot of lives. But it also, you know, it's also not the healthiest thing in the world. You know, oh, you're sick, here, take this pill. But there are other natural remedies that are better. You know, you take this one pill that has 1,000 side effects, and then they give you another pill for those side effects. You know, it's like crazy. And that's also linked to the food industry. I mean, there's so much that goes into it.
Keep you sick, right?
To keep you sick, right. So it's you know, we'll keep you sick with the food, and then we'll also fix you with the medicine. Yeah. That also.
Well, I mean, you have to look no further than the pandemic we just had. Right. You know, right. That you see. First of all, you see the wealth. You see people betting on these industries that directly have. They buy the stocks into these industries that they directly have making laws so they can profit. Right. Number one, that's just one thing, right? I'm gonna buy stock in all these pharmaceutical reps, right? Yeah. And then well, you have to take all this medicine. They have to have all these contracts, so that's one thing. And then you have, I mean, just like the levels, like the specific stories and stuff. And once again, not to say that all this medicine is bad. I think there's some doctors that really are doing stuff and trying to do things. Yeah. But like for me, I do very holistic stuff. Right. But I think when you go to medical school, they don't teach you any of that stuff. No. They don't teach you holistic stuff. Yeah. That's like frowned upon. Yeah. You know, that's like considered taboo. Yeah. Like Dr. Sebi. Yes. My point was, going back to my point. No, because I have ADHD. Bro. You know, I go all over the place. But what I meant was, you know, it started off with the holistic medicine. It started off with that one thing. And then it turned into another thing, and then now we have modern medicine. So that's what I mean by these things happen incrementally, you know, and slowly. Slowly don't worry, right? Don't worry, you're not gonna need a social credit score. We're just connecting all your information right now. Things happen very slow. It's like one domino at a time, you know, and then by the time you know it, all the dominoes fell. Yeah. But what were you saying before? Well, I was thinking about something too. There was I don't know if you saw the video, but there was a doctor who was like a doctor to the billionaires. I don't know if you saw this guy, and he goes, and they were asking him a question. They go, yeah, all these billionaires, all these elite people, they study holistic medicine, holistic for them, and astrology. And he said, medical medicine and regular science is for everybody else. Right. Yep. So. I believe it. You know, it's like, well, knowledge is power, you know, and they have all the knowledge. Yeah. And they choose what to give to the public. Yeah. You know, they're not gonna, like they always say, the government's 40 or 50 years ahead of the rest of civilization. Yeah. You know, it's like goes into like the aliens and the UFOs. Like, you're telling me our government hasn't had those since the 50s and 60s. I mean, there are people that, you know, even there's they found, was it Benjamin Franklin? I think they found Benjamin Franklin or somebody's journal, and it said in the journal, like, they were on a boat on a ship, and they seen like a big. I think that's like Columbus. I think that was Columbus. It might be Columbus. When he was coming over here, they saw the orb. They saw the orbs and stuff, and you see it in. Yeah, I mean, you going back, I mean, 50, 60 years. I mean, you have the crash of Roswell, I know we wanted to speak about. You know, I mean, they recovered extraterrestrial bodies. They recovered the spacecraft, and then they back engineered that. So today, you know, people are talking about, I know, you know, Dr. Stephen Greer. Yeah. He does like all the documentaries. And he's saying like 90% of all UFOs that we see in the sky are actually ours. Yeah. You know? Only like 10% of them are actually extraterrestrial, you know? So, I mean, the government... And what about this whole thing with the Venezuelan president? Yeah. They had this secret weapon that they used. Yeah. That was a direct energy weapon. Right?
Direct energy weapon. And they have would they have like hundreds of soldiers were like instantly sick. I think a group of 20 guys went in, captured the Venezuelan president, and just dipped out. We were like, "Yo, we're leaving." You know, like we took your president. Like, that's crazy. That's right? Nuts, bro. With like technology that we definitely back engineered from like aliens and stuff, bro. You know, I mean, because you have all these underground bunkers, you have Area 51 that have been going on for years and years and years. You know, so I mean, listen. Our government is a lot more capable than we think.
When you think about, so when you say we back engineer it, you think we got that from Roswell?
Yeah, that's one of the places, but also archaeology. Archaeological digs.
Yeah.
You know, they have since like the 1940s.
Yeah.
They had satellites that could literally, from space, look at like the nails inside your house.
That's crazy.
Like in the wood. Like that's how powerful their telescopes were. So they definitely have, you know, technology where they could scan the Earth and look for these underground anomalies. And when they would undig them, they would find a whole bunch of stuff. You know, they would find extraterrestrials, you know, crafts and stuff. They found, I mean, they would, even like the pyramids in China. That's how they found the pyramids in China. Wow. What do they call it? LiDAR? I think it's LiDAR.
LiDAR, yeah.
That's what it is, right?
Where they don't have to, where they just penetrate with like lasers in the ground and it doesn't disturb anything.
Yeah, well, it shows like unnatural anomalies.
Yeah,
so like they like the regular ground, and then they would see like a anomaly that's not like from nature, and then they would go investigate and they would find crazy stuff. You know,
that's the big thing, man. Like with technology, I like to look at things like. I think there's a lot of people, when you say conspiracy theory, I don't really like that term, but whatever. But whatever, you know, conspiracy theory, because then it's just
more like, right? It's more like
my hypothesis.
Yeah, it's more like more than likely.
More than yeah.
That's what I wrote down. Yeah, I was like, conspiracy theories nowadays are more than likely.
More than that's. I love that, man.
You know, because you just have, you know, and like I spoke to you earlier today. Like, you don't know for certain, right? Like, we weren't there.
Yes.
Like, when, like, we talk about flat Earth, it's not like we could go up in this, like, 100 miles up and look at the Earth. It's not, we get pictures from NASA, we get pictures, you know what I'm saying? So it's not like we actually know all these things. We could get enough information as we can, as most information as we can, and kind of, like, piece together. So, I mean, you could form an opinion based on that. And if you're smart enough, or if you allow yourself to be open up to these things, then you could form like an educated opinion, and it's more than likely this might be true. You know what I mean? So
it's a good way to look at it.
That's a good way to look at it, you know. So you never know 100%. I mean, you might know 98%, but it's never 100%. These are just very interesting topics. These are very interesting things. And you know, it's you try to gain as many facts as you possibly can and make your own opinion, you know.
That's honestly how I look at it too. That's so funny that you said that. Like, because I was just thinking, like, what I wanted to, like, when we get into certain things, like, specifically, I like to just say, like, this is interesting,
right?
This is not like whatever you say, if you believe it or not. This is an interesting factoid about this situation.
Correct.
This is an interesting phenomenon. This is an interesting natural structure.
Like, this is the way it is, and that's final. It's not like that. No, this is interesting.
Exactly.
Let's talk about this. Right?
Yeah, like when
let's have a conversation.
Like Roswell is interesting.
Very interesting.
Because clearly people saw something. They went to go find what it was. And they said, "Oh, we got aliens." Yeah. The next day. Yeah. Correct me if I'm wrong, because you know more about this than me. Yeah. The next day, they were like, they had some BS tinfoil stuff.
Yeah.
They threw it out, and they said, and they took a picture of it, and they said this was it. It was actually a balloon.
Yeah.
It wasn't aliens.
Because the original material His name is right on my tongue. Oh, he's the military guy from Area 51. Not Area 51.
Not Admiral Byrd.
No, Admiral Byrd's very interesting.
He's an
too.
interesting guy, but let's stick with one topic at a time because we could go down these things.
Jesse was, but he found this material and he would bend it, and it had like memory,
and it would go back.
So it would go back to the way it was, and it was nothing like on this. It was nothing like on this earth.
Yeah. And
like you said, the next day, the first newspaper clipping was Roswell UFO crashed. We recovered UFO, and then. The military got wind of this and was like, no, change the story. This is what really happened. We're going to plant this fake story of a weather balloon, and that's what the final story ended up being. But I guess back then, you didn't have too many people uprising. I mean, I don't know. Maybe they did, but... Well,
that goes to what you said, though. When people didn't look into things back then.
Right.
So you just got... from your newspaper.
Right.
That's a con. Like now I think the internet is a pro and a con. We always talk about this. It's good and it's bad.
Yes.
But the good part is I think we could spot bullshit easily now.
Mm-hmm.
So like if like World War II, you could say that was a psyop.
Yeah, very interesting World War II. That's a whole nother thing.
But that's the one thing that's very interesting. So like people were just getting their thing by the news. So it was also very much easier for people to be like, oh, they thought it was aliens. That's phooey. That's weird.
Yeah.
They're telling us now it's not aliens. So relax. It's just a balloon, right?
Yeah, actually, very good point. I kind of lost my train of thought before, but now I'm back on my train of thought. It's very funny that so Roswell happened, right? And they were like, all right, let's take this technology, because now they have this technology, this crazy technology. They're like, what the hell is this? This way advanced. This thing traveled supposedly from our, maybe another galaxy. Who knows? And they also found 3 bodies in there.
Okay.
Which we could also talk about. There's a guy called Richard Doty who we spoke about before.
Yeah.
He was actually talking about the Ebens. That's the actual beings that were in those crafts.
Ebens.
The Ebens. Eben 1 and Eben 2. So there was 3 extraterrestrials. 2 of them died in the crash. They took the 3rd to Area 51. That's where they kept the 3rd extraterrestrial. And he died, I think, Roswell was 1947, I believe, right? 1947.
It was something. Yeah.
And they had him for almost 5 years. Eben 1 died in 1952, according to Richard Doty, right? Richard Doty, he was a military officer. I think he was in, I forget the organization, DSO or DSI? Department of Special Intelligence. That's what DSI. And he was talking about, the 3 beings. 2 of them died. One of them they captured. And then they had these linguistics, learned their language, the Eben's language. And then the Eben finally started picking up on our language. So now they were able to communicate. And so that's a whole nother subject about what they, what came from that.
What?
Well, you had the whole Project Serpil thing come about, which I was telling you before, that could be like a whole nother section of like a whole nother interview, a whole nother podcast, But it's funny, going back to what we were saying before, there was one story that came out, then the second story came out. And then since then, they were like, anything that regarded aliens or UFOs, we're just going to debunk and call everyone crazy, know? So that's why, like, all these pilots that would see these UFOs when they're flying, they were always afraid to report it because they would lose their job. They would, they would...
He's crazy.
Yeah, they would come back and to base, and they would say, oh, I saw this, and then they would say, you're crazy, and then everyone was afraid to talk about it, and they made it like a stigma, like if you talk about it, you're crazy. But now that stigma is lifting. I mean, you got the government talking about it now, you have all these hearings in Congress talk about it now, so it's definitely a lot more acceptable, But I've been talking about aliens since I'm 18 years old. I'm 32 for years and years, since the early 2000s, I always said, in the family, right? I was like, oh, the aliens are real. I thought I was crazy.
Yeah.
And here we are. You know? So I mean, now it's definitely more acceptable.
Well, that's the thing too. Like to go with the conspiracy theories, like to have that thing, more than likelies. We'll call them more than likelies, right? I like that. We'll do the more than likelies. The more than likely show. More than likelies and coffee.
More likelies than coffee.
So
C4.
Yeah, and C4 popsicle. Yep. So sponsored by C4 popsicle. It's so crazy how when people you used to look at people and say, "Oh, that guy believes in aliens. He is a psycho."
Yeah, he used to be that.
You can't believe. And now, what is it? Congress is trying to find out, right? So now it's more of a mainstream thing.
Yeah,
it's in the mainstream now. Everybody knows about it, which is really, you can't even. Now that's an interesting philosophical thought too, because you can't even try to think of a time before it was like disclosure was a thing, and they were like saying like these are real, these quote unquote whistleblowers, which whatever. You can't because your mind can't even think that anymore. You can't think like, oh, a world where it wasn't common knowledge that people were like, yeah, there's unidentified flying objects in the sky. But back not that long ago, if somebody said that, like I remember when Tom DeLonge was on Joe Rogan, and the guy from Blink-182.
Oh yes, yes.
And he was like, I know aliens are real. And Joe Rogan's like, okay. And he's like, I've been reading all these books and all these things, and I went to Congress and I said, listen, I know why you're not disclosing it. You're gonna Blink-182 for my millennials out there.
Yep.
I know why you're not disclosing it because people aren't ready, but let me be the bridge. And I'm watching this and I'm like, this is, because I'm fascinated by all this stuff. This is interesting. That guy's crazy.
Yeah.
But it's interesting. But really,
yeah,
he was saying things then, and people don't like him now because.
Well, yeah, I don't really know too much. I know, didn't he start that UFO program, UFO researching program?
You know what they call him? A useful idiot. That's what people say he is. But
you think he's like a plant?
I think that he's really jazzed. This is my opinion. Right. Like I say, I don't know things, but I think he's, first of all, a dope musician. I love Blink-182. Work sucks. I know. But second, I think he is passionate about it and is trying to get into a topic of the government and stuff, and working with these people that are psyops and are plants and are this. So they might be utilizing him or trying to utilize him as a to soften to divert people's attention.
Right.
You know, and people think because they say he's a useful idiot, like he's parading around, or I don't, not that I know that much anyway, but I think that he's just a genuine person who's just really interested, and it's like, bro, just disclose all this stuff. Right. You know.
Well, hopefully that new yeah, good.
Well, I was gonna say he just happens to work alongside people that seem to be untrustworthy.
Okay.
You know, and part of that group, but I don't think he's untrustworthy. Gotcha. I think he's just a musician who thinks this is cool.
Yeah.
And was it's
a hobby to him. Yeah. And kind of gotten passionate about it. Yeah. Yep. I mean, well.
Disclosure Day.
Disclosure Day is coming out. That new movie with Steven Spielberg. Dude, we gotta go see that.
We do. We do have to see that.
If you notice, everything he does is aliens.
Ahead of the time.
Not everything, but most of the things he does is aliens.
Dude, he did Aliens. He did Ready Player One. He directed Ready Player One, which is like the virtual reality world.
Yeah. I just watched that actually a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, did you? I never seen it, but I know what it's about.
It's really good.
He did he did E.T.
E.T.
He did Close Encounters of the Third Kind about Jacques Vallée.
Yep.
Based off of there's a character based off of him.
Yep.
AI he did. And Minority Report he did.
Yes.
These are all weird futuristic things that are very, you know.
You ever see the movie Paul?
No.
You know what I'm talking about? It's with Simon Pegg.
Yes.
And who's the other guy from Dawn of the Dead?
Yeah, Nick Frost. Nick Frost is his name, the big guy, right?
Shaun of the Dead.
Yeah,
Nick Frost, right? Yeah. But
is it Paul the name of that video, by the way, of the alien that they found at Roswell?
Right. So listen to this.
Okay.
So Paul. So then you know how they drip feed things into movies.
Yes.
This is also another very interesting thing. You know, if you're aware of these things, you could pick things up in movies, right? So in Paul, they have a scene where he's talking to Steven Spielberg You never seen the movie.
I never
right?
seen this.
So
okay,
Paul's
just
the alien.
Yeah, I know
they
that.
find
Yeah.
the alien.
I know that.
Right?
Yeah,
But he's a funny alien character.
And
right?
he looks like a cliche little gray alien, right?
Exactly, right? Very, very interesting movie. Very, very funny. There's also some, like, if you know enough about certain things, like, you could see, like, there's some truth to this, right? Mm-hmm. So he was jokingly, like, talking about, like, pop culture, and, like, he has, like, he's the reason for a lot of these things in pop culture. Like, Steven Spielberg would call him. Like Steven Spielberg would call Paul and be like, "Yo, what do you think about this, Paul?" And that's where he would get his ideas from the movies.
Oh, that's
like, it's
funny.
Very funny, you know. And then now Steven Spielberg, we were talking, has all these alien movies out, you know. So it's just very interesting. It's very funny. Yeah, we definitely have to go see that movie.
We have to see that. Oh yeah, but that is interesting though, because he did make movies like in the 70s about this stuff.
Right.
They made Paul was like more recent, right? Like 2000s.
Yeah, right.
And you said the Area 51, isn't that video titled Paul though? Like there's a famous video of them interrogating a
we don't
is it
know
Paul
if
or Bob or something? What is it?
I don't know the name.
But there's a name. I thought that was the name, but
we don't know if, I mean, it looks
real.
And there are special effects artists that have came out and said, like, if that is fake, they should be on like the top, like they should be the top paid special effects artists in Hollywood, because it's like extremely
because it doesn't look like
good.
It's special effects at all.
It doesn't. Yeah, it looks very, very good. But like I said before, we don't know.
We don't
know.
Very
interesting, you know?
That's interesting.
It's interesting.
That's interesting.
You know?
So Roswell, that's where kind of like, I guess so just to wrap this up, I guess that like that's where, in my opinion, I'll just say what I think it was. It was a downed spaceship, I would say, and there was probably entities in it, and they might have. Right. I would say maybe more than likely.
Yeah. Well, there's also the coroner from Roswell. They interviewed him. He describes what he's seen. Yeah. It's an older interview, I think, from like the 80s and 90s, or maybe even the 70s. I don't know. But he talks about like these. It's actually on a documentary with Stephen Greer. The Unacknowledged. You ever see that?
No.
We watched it together.
We might have.
I think we watched it together.
Yeah, we did.
They actually show the guy who was supposedly the coroner in Roswell, and they brought him the bodies, and they said the arms were spindly, and it didn't look like any human, you know. So very interesting.
Well, you know what makes me really think that is what happened, or at least more than likely, I could gather that it did happen. Is because of what happened either in the 90s or 80s in Varginha, Brazil. Yes. Okay. Yeah. So James Fox, right? He's the director of the documentary that came out. I think it's called, I forgot what it's, Phenomenon or something.
Oh, is that with the school?
No. Okay. That's a different one. That's crazy.
That's also crazy.
These are the craziest ones, honestly. But I'm just going to say this one. This one is in Varginha, Brazil. Type this up, alien. And pretty much a spaceship crashes. The aliens get out, and they're running around. Schoolgirls see them, and if you know,
yes, I know exactly what you're talking about.
Schoolgirls see them. They describe them, and it looks like a gray alien, pretty much. They thought it was a demon because if you know Brazil, you know it's a heavy religious place, which also might be demons. I don't know. Who knows? But we could get into that. But then the government comes in, takes them.
This one right here, 96.
Yeah, 96. Yeah. The government comes and takes them. One of the officials that grabbed them died of a disease like very soon after.
They grabbed the aliens?
Yeah. They grabbed the aliens, they grabbed the guys, and then another one, like you said, like autopsy or like whatever, or worked on them. Then there was another guy, I think, if I'm not mistaken, I would have to rewatch this, or I suggest people watch this because it's one of like the three weirdest, most fascinating things that has happened. That you could verify.
Oh, Moment of Contact, it's called.
Moment of Contact, yeah.
Okay.
And the guy who was like with his partner who died, he tries to go. James Fox goes to try to interview him because they find him, and he's never been interviewed. Nothing. He's just like freaked out, and he has a gun on him. And he's like, "Get away from me!"
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
And the guy, and he leaves. So he's spooked out. But all these people are corroborating, like, oh yeah, like the schoolgirls, we saw this and we were scared because we thought it was like a demon.
Right.
Because, it's very religious in Brazil. Right. And then they described it and it looked like a gray alien.
Wow.
And they saw it. Multiple people saw it. And then one guy died right after of like an illness.
Wow.
Right after he grabbed it and threw it in. And then you got the doctors who worked on it. It's very fascinating.
Very
stuff,
fascinating,
man.
yeah.
And supposedly like America went in there too and grabbed the grab demo for them somewhere or whatever.
Yeah.
But that's one of a very what we would call interesting.
Very interesting.
Alien phenomenon.
Yes. Well, there's so many of them.
You know,
there's so many of them. I forget if this one was also in Brazil, but also Joe Rogan had a guest on. I forget his name. I'm very bad with names, but
me too.
He was talking about the school incident
in Africa.
It was in Africa. Yes, it was in Africa. You know what I'm talking about, right?
Yeah.
A whole. It's like 50 kids outside in the schoolyard playing, and then a freaking UFO touchdown.
Yeah.
And you have all these and I think, wait, did they interview those two girls later in life that you're talking about?
In Virginia?
Didn't they interview those two girls later in life? In the documentary,
movie.
right? I think I seen a clip of that somewhere.
Yeah, it's crazy.
But the one in the school is also crazy. It was
they were telekinetically talking to the kids too,
right.
and saying that like, guys, like the future is not good. Like you got to take care of here,
right?
And like take care of the world and
the day the earth stood still type of stuff.
Yeah. Exactly. Yes, exactly.
There's so many cases, man. I mean, we could go on for days and days. I mean, we're gonna have many more podcasts. You know. So
that's just the basis of like that was Roswell. Right. We talked about Roswell, the aliens.
Roswell.
Is there anything else that you want to alien related, or do you have something else you want to get into?
Oh, I mean, there's plenty of stuff, but we could go into whatever.
You know? What do you have? Do you have anything over there in your notes?
I actually wrote down a bunch of stuff.
Yeah, let's hear it.
I did a bunch of stuff. We have flat Earth we could talk about. We have the moon landing.
Let's talk about flat Earth.
You want to talk about flat Earth?
Yeah, because I'm going to just go right out in front.
All right.
I don't believe in flat Earth.
Okay.
I'm going to say that.
Okay.
Right? Not that I don't believe in
I'm
it.
not
I'm not
really
a flat
believer
earther
either. I'm not either.
Yeah.
I'm not either, but it's very interesting.
There's some interesting things with
very
it. That's what I want to say.
A
good storytelling. There's good storytelling.
I'm not really one way or another. Like I said, you just don't know.
You don't know.
You know, I mean, there are people on both sides that'd be like, "Oh, you're an idiot," you know. But there are very interesting facts and very interesting points on each side.
Yeah.
You know.
So go ahead with them.
Well, I mean, like, you know, there's I seen, you know,
what have you seen?
Plenty of videos where these people are interviewing pilots, right?
Yeah.
And they go up to the pilot like, "Hey, is the Earth flat?"
Yeah.
You know, or is the Earth round? And the guy's like, "Nah, it's completely flat." You know, so it's like things like that. It's like makes you think, like, is it really flat? And then you hear like these scientists like they go like all these crazy equations and this and that, and it makes you think maybe it is round. Like you know what I mean? So like there's so many forces pulling on you from so many different angles. It's hard for you to like really know.
Yeah.
You know, but it's interesting to think about. You know, and Werner von Braun.
Yeah.
Very interesting too. Project Paperclip. He was Werner von Braun, right? He was a Nazi. Who?
Oh, you're moving on to another topic.
Well,
right
no,
now?
this is
very
this also pertains to flat Earth because on his tombstone he wrote Psalm 19:1, right? I have it right here.
Werner von Braun is the what were you saying?
He's the Nazi scientist
who
from Project Paperclip they brought over I think like 3,000 Nazi scientists over
after the war, right?
After the war,
yeah,
and came and took them over here and made
NASA,
right? NASA was headed by Nazis.
Yeah,
you know, a lot of people don't know this. A lot of people do know this now.
Yeah,
but
they didn't even change their names either. By the way,
Werner von Braun was working at the rocket factory where they would hang the Jews for working slow.
Yeah,
like he was a full blown Nazi.
Yeah,
and they made him the head of NASA.
Yeah,
you know, it's crazy.
I just heard that today too.
Yeah, Psalm 19:1. The heavens declare the glory of God, and the firmament showeth his handiwork. The firmament
is what nothing could penetrate. Right?
Is what flat earthers claim. Is like we have a flat plane. It's connected by the firmament. Also, the Simpsons talk about the firmament. It's very interesting.
Yeah.
You know? And you know the Simpsons, they predict the future. You know, it's very, very everything intertwines in a very interesting way. You know, and so he kind of is hinting, you know, the firm is the Earth flat? Is he hinting the Earth is flat? We don't know.
The thing is, the firmament. What does it say at the end? The last thing, the firmament.
The firmament soweth his handiwork.
Yeah.
So in order, like the God made the firmament. Like it is a firmament.
So with his, meaning like
it's his handiwork.
It's there. Like the firmament is there. Right. Yeah.
You know.
And he was the guy who made rockets.
Yeah, and he was the
guy
he
would know.
Made rockets, right? And this also ties into the moon landing. Like, can we even leave? You hear Bill Nye the Science Guy. Yeah. He even claims like we can't leave. The Earth is an enclosed system. Like we can't leave.
Really?
So
Bill Nye said that. I didn't know that.
There's video footage proof of him saying this on video.
I didn't know that. Wow.
You know, and even Buzz Aldrin, he comes out and says we never went to the moon. Like
really?
What you watch, he was on, I think, some talk show, Jimmy Kimmel or Jimmy Fallon, I forget. But he even said like you watch CGI, like that wasn't. You watch animations, what he said. Well, you know, so
yeah. So I'm gonna go. Let's go. Those are two intertwining things. Mm-hmm. I'm gonna go to the flat Earth thing.
Yeah. Good. What's your opinion on it? Why
Very interesting. So, I tend to believe what we were told in school is that it's round, right? I do think that, and I'm gonna say right now, this moment, maybe in 5 minutes from now I won't, but right now in this moment, I think that we can get into space for argument's sake, and the world's round, right? Mm-hmm. But I will say these things are interesting. Roger Avery, who's a director, he co-wrote Pulp Fiction, directed Rules of Attraction, one of a millennial's favorite, mine, one of my favorite. It's a great movie. Just rewatched it the other day. That's for a movie podcast, though. We'll talk about that another time. Okay. But he's a director, and he was on Joe Rogan not like a couple weeks ago, and his mind is fascinating. Because he's like us. He's like, these are interesting things. I'm not saying they're true, but they're interesting. Joe Rogan asked him like what he thinks about like what is this craziest conspiracy theory right now, because he was talking about all this stuff. He goes, flat Earth is very interesting to me right now. Joe Rogan's not a flat earther at all.
His boy Eddie Bravo pushed him over the edge, right?
Yeah. So when he said that, he was like this, all right, well, you know that we have this math and you know we do it. Like he was kind of being like a dick to him or whatever. But Roger Avery was so cool. He was like in a cool way, even though like once again, because he's like, I don't believe in this either.
Right.
But this is interesting. Right. And he was like, no picture we see from space is a real picture. It's just a pixelation. It's just a digital recreation of it. And he's like, what do you mean we have satellites? And he's like, yeah, but look at it. You don't, and even in the pictures that you do see, you don't see like a curve. Right? And he's like, what do you mean you see the curve? And he's like, yeah, but that's not a curve. That's the lens curve. Right. The lens is curving. Lens. Yeah, the lens is curving. And then this is why it's very interesting, because this is just this podcast, I'm going to say, that made me very interested because then they look at another picture and the Earth is curving. He's like, look, it's curving the other way now. Because the lens was curving the other way. So it looked like the thing was curving, like the Earth was like a weird, you know. And he's like, yeah, that's the thing. And he's like, but all right, so let's look at the live stream. When they went to look at the live stream, it was down. And they say, oh, sorry, it was down. And he was like, oh, so that's interesting, right? It was down, right? Well, we're trying to look it up. He's like, yeah, that's unfortunate. But so he was saying that like we never have a real, like what you were saying earlier about the pictures from the sky.
Right.
It's just satellites, and you know all this math and stuff. You have to kind of take it for what they say. Right. And supposedly pilots also, like, to go what you were saying, and I didn't do this research, but this is just once again, I'm not saying anything. This is just what I heard.
Right.
Pilots don't use a curvature of the Earth to fly a plane. They act as if the Earth is flat when they fly a plane.
Gotcha.
That's what he said during the podcast. I didn't really look this up, but supposedly like pilots don't ever like use a curvature of the Earth.
Gotcha.
And they said like why, and you know you could say like why does it look like a curve, or why can't I see? Is this because you just can't see that far? And like you know, so, and like it's like, but why is like, and like why am I higher this place? Like, because you know it's hilly. It's not like just one flat thing. It's like hills and stuff. Right. So there are weird things like that. And also,
I get you.
I thought this was really cool. Anthony, my cousin, he sent me this this map one time of like a flat Earth. And
are you talking about the flight paths?
Not the flight paths, but like just flat Earth, like our map of our Earth, and then like the water keeps on going, and then it's like other islands and other places.
Oh, are you talking about
not Pangea, but is that what it is?
There's a name for the actual like different realms.
Yeah, exactly, like that one. That one.
They say beyond the ice wall.
Yes,
there's
and then,
other lands,
like Atlantis and stuff. Yeah.
Bird flew into it.
So, yeah, exactly. So we could get to that too. But so that is that map. I just found that very fascinating. Not that I believe it, but I find that
map was like the government's. I think what organization uses the flat Earth map? I forget, but like the government like has like their like I forget the organization that uses this map, but they actually use the flat Earth map as like their symbol. Which is cool. Very interesting. I'll look that up.
Yeah,
look it up.
Look it up for next time. Yeah. But because we could get into that, because I would like to dive deep into that. Not to say once again I believe it or not, but I do find it very interesting that's like cool. Because in my mind, why I find it interesting is because not if it's real or not, but that imagine you think that the world is this big, in flights and stuff, and in like I could only go from this side of the world to this side of the world, and that's it.
Yep, the UN emblem is that of a flat Earth. So I don't know if that's 100%.
Yeah, that's like that could be. Yeah, that is interesting. You know, that is very interesting.
This should be called the interesting podcast.
Yeah, it is. Most likely. Very
interesting.
That's interesting. Yeah, that could be the name of this episode. I do think it's very fascinating and interesting that if you go past like Europe or Africa or whatever. The furthest thing, New Zealand. You go past that and you keep on going. There's a land out there that essentially we would be being lied to. That's not out there, but that is out there.
Right. Well, that's like Antarctica, right? You can't go to Antarctica.
Yeah, exactly.
You know?
Yeah.
Well, that's also where Devon Island is. And that's where they supposedly shot all the footage for, you know, the Mars rover imagery and all that stuff. And I don't know about the moon.
Well, the moon landing's very interesting because this was another thing. I'm gonna put these two things together. Okay. Roger Avery, when he was on Joe Rogan, he's a big Stanley Kubrick fan.
Stanley Kubrick.
Hold on. So supposedly there's a conspiracy that more than likely that his last movie he made, Eyes Wide Shut.
Yes.
So Eyes Wide Shut. Tom Cruise, right? Yeah, Eyes Wide Shut is supposed to be about a elite pedophile sex ring. Right. Elite sex like a cult, but also like a child, like trafficking, right? And supposedly this is what Roger Avery says. He died before the movie was finished edited, and then he's like finished, and then they finished it and then sent it out. Supposedly at the end of the movie, there's supposed to be the two guys that were like kind of like in the background of the movie. We're supposed to take Tom Cruise and Nicole Kidman's kid in the movie, and like he was supposed to have sacrificed their kid to this elite cult at the end. That doesn't happen at the end of the movie, right?
So they changed it.
They changed the ending. Supposedly the story goes Stanley Kubrick got into a fight prior to his death, like right before his death, with the producers, and they're like, "You can't fucking touch my movie. This is my movie." Blah blah blah. And then that was after that he died, like right after that. Supposedly he was like outing.
Coincidence.
Yeah, supposedly he was outing all this stuff in there because the movie it has a lot of occult imagery and stuff like that. Yeah, and it is actually outing them. Right. Like they're saying like there's Epstein stuff, all this other stuff in there. And so supposedly they changed it for that. So Stanley Kubrick, that's another conspiracy you could go down. That's an interesting one.
Very interesting. But he also
and he died suddenly.
He shot the moon landing.
He died suddenly too. By the way, he wasn't like sick or anything. He just died suddenly.
Right. He died in what 99.
Yeah. He was like 70. He wasn't that old. But he wasn't that old.
Right. He wasn't that old. Right.
But he was yeah, just to like die naturally.
Right.
He wasn't that old.
He didn't. Right.
So, but he supposedly shot the moon landing. If you saw 2001: A Space Odyssey, that came out before. I think the moon landing. That came out before it. So they were making that movie before the moon landing. That movie looks so realistic. It looks like they're in space.
Yeah, dude.
It looks like they're in space, right? Also, you know who's on set?
This goes back to what... I'm sorry to interrupt. Yeah. But this goes back real quick, just an interjection. This goes back to this... Our government has technologies that we have today. They had it 50 years ago.
So I want to get to that. I want to get to that.
I just want to interject. That's probably why. You know,
I want to get to that. I want to get to that actually, because that actually contradicts a little bit of what we're talking about right now too. A little bit. Okay.
And
that's why I want to hear your thoughts on it. because it gets all convoluted, this stuff, honestly.
Yes.
Because when you start really thinking
right,
about it.
everything, right.
So,
very, very entwining.
So there's a picture of this guy who's a government guy who was, we could get into this. This is like a whole crazy podcast, but a guy for the government called Jolly West, the guy who was the head of MK Ultra, was on one of his sets.
Okay.
Walking around one of his sets.
All right.
Right? And with the whole moon stuff, the whole CIA stuff, the whole government stuff, why is that government guy in a picture with him?
That's so funny. I literally wrote down in my notes CIA operatives in Hollywood.
Yeah.
That's so funny to say that.
But I don't know. I mean, if he shot the moon landing, he's just a psychotic genius, a great director. He might have been like, this is art or whatever, and like made it. But it would be very. I mean, I don't know. Like, I'm not a Stanley Kubrick historian, but he did spend so much time making movies, and he was a genius. In my opinion, he was a genius, but in art. But he made so much time and money into movies, but like kind of after, that time, he was like given the ability to do what he wanted.
Right.
So it's like, it makes you think, like, how can your movies not really make a lot of money? You spend so much money and time on them and still get like to do whatever you want to do.
Like, what do you mean? Like, where's his funding coming from?
Exactly. Or like, why is he giving carte blanche? He is a genius, and people do love working with him. And he was, at the time, people did like to work with him. But it kind of makes you think, like, if he did do this, he would just be given like carte blanche to do whatever he wants to do, right? Like, all the time.
Right.
And that movie that came out before the moon landing looks like they're in space. So so just to say, if you thought it couldn't be done, there was a movie that was made that looks very good,
right?
And also, there's a guy that was in the CIA who is direct.
You're saying it couldn't be done, like you couldn't fake it?
If you couldn't fake it, yes, exactly. If you thought you couldn't fake it, yes, you can. And they actually made a whole movie out of it. and there's a guy who's a big CIA guy, MK Ultra, which was the mind control, the drugs mind control thing for people. We could get into that now or another time. Who's on one of his sets, like in the same space as him. So
crazy, bro. No, well, that's the whole thing with CIA in Hollywood.
Yeah.
I mean, that's why, a lot of movies that we see have, a lot of sci-fi movies, and a lot of, they have these truths to them that it's like we're drip fed this information. So like when the truth finally does come out, we're not as surprised.
Yeah.
So it kind of gets us more acclimated to all the craziness that actually goes on in the world.
If we have all these technologies, where do they come from? Because if we can't get into space and we can't break the firmament, what do you think that is then? Well,
I mean, you hear so many different stories, right? I mean, you hear, hollow earth theory, there's civilizations under the ground, under the pyramids. They just found all this stuff under the pyramids, right? So, I mean, the earth isn't, when people say hollow earth, the earth isn't, it's not like a big hole, and it's a honeycomb. There's all these caverns and huge areas inside the earth and stuff. Who knows? But Antarctica is also like a big thing. The Nazis were really interested in what is it called, New Schwabenland? You ever heard of New Schwabenland in Antarctica?
Dude.
Yeah, I mean, they literally were Hitler was obsessed with Antarctica.
That's Schwab's father, by the way. That's
Charles Schwab.
Yeah, that's his father. Or whatever his name is, the guy from World Economic Forum.
Charles Schwab.
Yeah, that's it.
So I mean, supposedly there's a giant hole somewhere in Antarctica where you could go in. That's where Admiral Byrd was talking about. He flew into it. And that's also another thing. People go look up Admiral Byrd. Yeah. He's a very interesting guy. He talks about, he was on like some radio or some news show, TV show back in the 40s?
Yeah, probably.
Talking about, he flew into this hole and saw a whole ancient city. It was insane. So, I mean, you hear all these different types of theories, So people talk beyond the ice wall. There's all these different lands. They might be occupied by extraterrestrials, or maybe even just like breakaway civilizations.
From like Atlantis kind of times?
Maybe, yeah.
So you think, so
because you hear so many different stories, right? Like I listen to there's an app that I have called Gaia, right?
Yeah.
So
Gaia.
you have
Gaia's
all
wild, bro.
yeah, dude. I mean, you have all. That's why I heard Emery Smith. He was he was a doctor in the military. He got recruited into like a black project programs where he was working on extraterrestrial beings, and he was working with extraterrestrials. So but they have all these different people on this app, and they interview them. And Randy Kramer's one of them. Richard Doty's one of them. There's a bunch of them. So they talk about as if traditional, solar systems and planets and different galaxies. And then you hear these flat earthers that talk about, beyond the ice wall there's other civilizations. So you don't know.
Both could be true.
Both could be true. Very interesting. Only a handful of people really know the truth. Those are like the people who pull all the strings in the world.
Do you think so? There was a. You talk about New Schwabland.
Mm-hmm.
Supposedly, when Admiral Byrd went into there, like Antarctica, supposedly there was like aliens and like Nazis over there.
Yeah.
And they said, "Listen, we could." This was supposedly like the thing. Mm-hmm. We could give you the technology, give you some technology. You just shut up. Mm-hmm. Don't tell anybody we're here. Or we could go to war with you and just annihilate you, pretty much, because we. And so, so when he's like, all right, so you came back, and like Eisenhower, I think, was the president at the time, and he told them that, and they're like, all right, whatever. I guess we'll just get the technology.
Well, what we did was so the United States found out that Hitler was down there with the Nazis, and we went down there to go get him. Yeah. And they described these like I forget who said it. World War III will be the end of the world. Yeah, is because they saw these crafts, these UFOs, come out of the sky and like sink every battleship of ours, and like completely decimated us. Yeah, within minutes. I mean, I don't know, like.
Yeah, because he took a whole cavalry to Antarctica, right?
Yeah, I mean, there was like a whole big thing with that. Like we heard he was down there, and
you know what Antarctica is, right?
We went after him because
people say that. People say, "Oh, he died in South America. He died in Argentina."
Who, Hitler?
Yeah. Argentina's right near Antarctica.
Oh yeah,
it's right there. It's
there.
Actually Patagonia is actually.
There's the biggest. Is New Schwabenland? There's also a big community in. Is New Schwabenland in Antarctica or is it in Argentina? But either way, in Argentina, there's a massive population of Germans. Yeah, they have that show, Hunting Hitler. Yeah, where they go and talk to all these people down there, and there's like huge German villages. And
the second biggest Oktoberfest in the world is in Brazil.
Yes.
Do you know that? Because there's so many Germans.
That's where they all fled. Is to Argentina. Yeah. It's nuts.
And all that area. So. Yeah, I don't know. I find it fascinating, man. Antarctica's a weird place, and we can't go there,
The UN has it on, I think it's like 14 different nations. The UN, I think, is like... And the people who do go there go to, like, the safe area.
Yeah.
They found pyramids in Antarctica.
Dude.
They found all that type of stuff.
So, you want to talk about... All right,
supposedly there's a big, giant spacecraft that's, like, now that it's, like, melting... somewhere down there, and it's like going to be exposed soon. Wow.
Man, it's just so crazy because very interesting things, right? Mm-hmm. I'll just say that you could connect everything. Every interesting thing you could connect. Mm. So like Tesla, right? Mm. His technologies and the things that he was on are directly related to like the pyramids. Yeah. With like the sacred geometry and all that stuff, and like people are like, oh, it was a slave. The slaves built the pyramids in Egypt. We'll talk about the Egyptian periods. All right, bro. There's no evidence that anybody could lift those stones at all. No evidence.
And people try to recreate it. Oh, look, I can move this 1-ton stone by myself. Yeah. But people fail to realize these stones were cut 500 miles away. Yeah. from a quarry,
Yeah.
500 miles away. Okay, maybe I seen this one video, one guy who was like making like these special ramps and pulleys and stuff, and he was able to like move a big stone by himself, but he's in one area.
Yeah.
And then people are like, all right, well then add 1,000 people to that.
Yeah.
Okay, but even if you get 1,000 people to do that, how are you moving it 500 miles? You know, and some of the stones are what, like 30 tons, 50 tons,
bro,
or something like that.
How about this? How about the fact that you can't? They talk about the manpower, but what technology did they have to move this stuff? The ropes, the wood, whatever else they had to move.
Right, it would. Right, a stone that size would just pummel, crush wood. You know, completely crush it.
And so it's like, okay, it was the as what is that guy Zawah says, the guy, the Egyptian guy. It was the national project, right?
Yeah, between 25 and 80 tons each. So the heaviest being 80 tons.
Yeah.
So that's 160,000 pounds, right? 2,000 times.
Yeah.
Because a ton is 2,000 pounds, right? Times 80.
How much is the biggest one? I think it's more than that, though. They said the biggest.
Well, I just Googled it real quick. It says 25 through 25 and 80. But who knows? It might be more.
Well, there's. Listen.
The massive granite stones were transported from Aswan over 800 kilometers away.
Yeah.
I mean, it's crazy, bro. Some people say, you know, it was made by sound.
That's kind of where I go.
Sound is
that's
very
where I go with it.
interesting also because you ever see the videos of, you know, they have like a black like plate and they put salt on it.
Yeah,
and they do like different frequencies.
Yeah.
And the salt actually shapes the different. The different. So sound like there's a guy, I forget what kind of instrument, or it's I think an African instrument. It's like a long tube, and you blow on it and it creates a vibration and it could literally pick up paper.
Yeah.
So if that's on a ginormous scale, who knows what you could pick up?
Dude, ancient technology, bro. What they had, if you hear the so there's like ancient like mystics and stuff. Like they talk, like if you talk about ancient like gurus, like Hinduism and just like feats, and even in the Bible and stuff like that, like different older religious champion, different older religious things. You're right. They talk about different like when you do your mantras and stuff, and like Om and that stuff. That's a vibration. That's a thing,
right.
Dude. This is my opinion. We had so much powers back in the day when we had no distractions and we were just like spiritual and like into our own bodies and we understood things more. Back in the day,
even when you're a kid.
Yeah, dude. There's still from like the 50s, 60s. There's like Hindu like gurus like that just chant and stuff, and there's like testimony of them like teleporting, like disappearing, flying and stuff, monks, just like monks, meditating and flying and stuff. So dude, this stuff, like if you ever watch the Tibetan Buddhist documentary, there's a free one on YouTube.
They could boil water in their lap.
Dude,
they could do crazy stuff.
Dude, they could be in the middle of the snow, and they have rags that they dry on them because their body's generating so much heat. Bro, our bodies and our spiritual lives are so powerful,
right? And
we just go away from that with all of our distractions.
Exactly.
So
that's by design.
By design.
That's by design.
And how they made those pyramids, bro, was mystically, honestly.
Oh, 100%.
You know, it wasn't 100%. Through, in my opinion, it wasn't through
100%.
It wasn't through like
hard labor.
Wood rollers, you know.
Yeah, there's no way. I mean, listen, could it happen? Maybe possible, but I'm thinking I don't think so.
More than likely.
I don't think so. I don't think it was made by thousands of slaves. You know what I mean? It's just to get it so precise, and now to get it so precise to where even if you're off by, I'm in construction, right? So even if you're off by a half an inch on the bottom, by the time you get to the top with how big they are, you completely, they are so perfect.
Yeah.
They are so perfect, and they align with the 33rd degree with the Earth. Yeah. I forget if it's, what's this way, horizontal. The horizontal 33rd degree.
Yeah.
And then, I don't know, like the scientific...
it's like latitude. Oh,
latitude and longitude, right?
Yeah, latitude and longitude.
And 33 is also a very, very powerful number.
Crazy number.
You know?
Yeah.
33rd degree Mason, stuff like that. And it's perfectly aligned with the Orion's belt.
Oh, wow.
So, I mean, to get it that precise... And now you have them all over the planet.
Yeah.
So how were just regular people back then, like not cavemen, but people without phones and email, how were they communicating with the other side of the planet that Mexico has them, China has them, how was everybody know to build these pyramids if no one's in communication,
Because
so they had to be, I mean, it's just like a detective, right? You get all the evidence, and you make an educated, informed opinion, and that's probably what it was. You know what I mean?
Dude, 100%. And like the fact that, so I read this book. I think it was his last book, Zachariah Stitchins, who was the big on the Anunnaki.
Yep.
And the Ninth Planet or whatever. That's the name of one of the books, or 12th Planet, whatever he said. But this was his last book, End of Days, about the Anunnaki, and he was talking about when are they coming back? Like when the evidence says they're coming back.
Where's that planet?
Narubo. Yeah. So, dude, first of all, he's an incredibly intelligent actual doctor, first and foremost, right? People don't believe his stuff, and I'm not saying I believe everything or whatever. I think he's like anybody else. He took all the information and he made his educated thing, but some of his stuff is fascinating, man. Like, he's pretty much talks about the Anunnaki, which is like there's the theory that like there's a planet, and the planet came here. The aliens, the beings were here, genetically modified humans to be who we are, and
to mine gold.
That's
why we have such a fascination with gold.
But supposedly, there's a bunch of different iterations, but one is that there were two brothers that the main god, their father, there was two brothers, Enlil and Enki. Enlil was like the one who hated humanity. Enki was the one who loved us and actually put something inside of our DNA that would make us, this is a theory, superior than or like godlike, right? Which wasn't supposed to be a thing. So it's, genetically modified DNA. Also,
to make us more godlike?
Yeah, exactly. So that wasn't supposed to be a thing. This is like the theory, right?
Gotcha.
So Enki was like Enki, they say, is very similar to Prometheus, if not the same person. Thoth, from Egypt. He's the knowledge bringer. He had, and people say, I don't want to be, blasphemous at all here, but like people say he's also like the serpent in the Garden of Eden. Okay. That he brings the knowledge to the human, like he brought knowledge to Adam and Eve. Right. Supposedly that's like a depiction of that thing, which it gets a little interesting with. I know with religion and stuff, we grew up Catholic, so it's very
That's very true.
But and then like a lot of different like Quetzalcoatl in the Americas, the natives. So it's like he's supposedly all these guys, the knowledge bringer, right, to humanity, and with them. So it's also like I think scientifically proven recently that in our DNA was modified like 100,000 years ago. Supposedly, like the scientists have seen that.
Well, they just found the God particle, right?
Yeah.
That's also a big thing.
So
that's a whole nother subject.
That's also, another subject.
Is where's the missing link? You have, I could say I know because I've listened to this so many times. We were more than likely genetically engineered.
Yeah,
like you're saying, right?
Yeah.
We were more than likely tinkered with. Our DNA was tinkered with.
Yeah, I think that's scientifically, that's what they found recently, though.
Yeah,
they've actually found that scientifically, that corroborates that 100,000, 200,000 years ago, something sliced. DNA did something that it would like fuse two things together that it would take like millions of years to evolve. Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
Huh. That's like a scientist.
Yeah, like a scientifical thing. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, like it's in papers and stuff.
I gotta read that.
Yeah, you gotta read that.
That's very interesting.
I gotta read the whole thing too, but I saw I read a little bit of it, but that goes to with this whole thing,
right?
With like all these stuff, and there's actually like because I only bring this up to say like you were talking about they weren't in contact with each other, and then like you were saying they had to have that.
Yeah. No option.
They had these flying beings and stuff. Like if you look at religion, all these religions are saying pretty much all of these same kind of things. Stuff that sounds like nuclear technology. Mm-hmm. The Bhagavad Gita. There's a weapon that goes off that kills a bunch of people. Yeah. All of this stuff, right? The Bible, Book of Enoch, even Ezekiel, all these stuff that's really there. It's like, it had wheels and this and that, and it rose up. Crazy things.
Well, just like you were saying before, like like you talking about the incident in Brazil.
Yeah.
They would call the alien a demon, for lack of a better word.
Yes, yeah.
So they didn't have the word for UFO. Yeah. Thousands of years ago, so they would say, "Oh, fire-breathing bird."
Yeah.
And that's what they would depict.
Yeah.
So it goes very, very.
No, that's exactly what it is, and I've heard like people say things like, "Oh, of the time." Like whatever's of the time, that's the thing that it represents itself as anyway.
Right.
Whatever they are, like they'll be like, "Oh, it's a demon now because it's religious time."
Yes.
It's technology, so it's a technological thing.
Yes. Yep.
So there's actually a really cool conspiracy because to bring it back, I've heard somebody say that Nefertiti from Egypt was really Mayan. Because they said she was from a far away land, and her son, I believe it was her son, it was her son or her husband, Akhenaten or whatever his name was, and he was the first Egyptian king or pharaoh to say there's only one God. Everybody else was like, oh, there's a bunch of different gods. He was the first one to say there was one God. And then his wife was supposedly a Mayan. Nefertiti was supposedly a Mayan.
Why would he say there's only one God?
Well, this is the more than likely. No, the conspiracy theory is that he knew the ancient wisdoms and stuff, and he was like telling the people them. Because at the time in Egypt, there were only like the sages and the priests knew everything. Right. So they knew this, but they didn't want everybody to know. And he was like, nah, dude, there's one God. It's like the sun. The sun is everything. Blah, blah. It all goes to one. And then after he died, the next guy was like, nah, there's a bunch of different gods. Yeah. So he was, and I think that's King Tut's dad. I think that was King Tut's dad. Actually.
So he was suppressing the knowledge?
No, he was giving the knowledge, right? And then the priest suppressed the knowledge. Exactly. Because it was very, like now, but back then it was very, Egypt was very like suppressing of this, like the knowledge was like, only these people know it. Right.
It's like society today.
Exactly, yeah.
That I was talking about earlier, Yep, only the select few have all the knowledge, and then they decide what to give to the rest. Yeah. Because we could all... So, we want to keep going with this subject, or you want to go...
Well, I'll just say that it's very... I'll just wrap it up, obviously.
I was going to go to another...
No, go to the another one. But I'm just going to wrap it up and saying, like, if you start reading into, like, the ancient... religions in ancient, like throughout the world and stuff, a lot of them, like all their stories corroborate and say very similar things, just different areas.
Well, I mean, you look at the hieroglyphs too. Yeah, they all have the same. Not all of them have the same, but they have very similar depictions on the hieroglyphs as well. Yeah, it's very, very interesting. Very, very. What's that? What's that island with all the heads?
Easter Island.
Easter Island. Like those stones, like the head's just popping out, but those stones go like 30, 40 feet deep in the ground. Like who's making those? Like how did that get, like it's very, very interesting, man. Like I wish if I could build a time machine and I could go back in time, like I would look at how the pyramids were built. I would look at, all the ancient India.
Yeah.
It's very
That place is nuts, bro.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, it's just insane. Very, 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 very crazy. But I forget what I was gonna say before.
Is there? Yeah. So what's another one that you wrote down that you wanted to talk about?
I mean, we kind of hit on them. But
what about clones, bro? Talk to me about clones.
Oh, clones.
Because I'm just
great. I mean, I don't know too much about clones,
Yeah.
but I mean, I believe that we definitely have that technology, and we've had that technology for some time.
I think they clone animals, so I think that it's there.
Yeah, they had that.
Like they literally say, yeah, we've cloned this animal.
Well, when was the first sheep clone?
Yeah,
Did they
yeah.
clone that?
Yeah,
it was like a whole big thing. It was
Yeah,
like
yeah,
Betty, or
yeah.
what was the sheep's name?
I don't know, but I know what you're talking about.
Like
Yeah.
that. I think back in like the 80s.
Yeah.
Right? Back in the 80s and 90s, something like
Yeah.
that. So that we definitely have that technology. The whole thing with Jim Carrey is nuts.
That's why I wanted to talk about it,
the whole thing
because
with Jim Carrey is crazy.
because I saw him. Listen,
that ain't him, bro.
I'm gonna say this. I was never big on clone stuff. Not that I wasn't big on it, but I never looked into it because I already look into crazy things.
Yeah.
And I feel like if I looked into that, because I believe the technology's out there. Mm-hmm. If you could clone a sheep in the 80s or whenever we did that, there ain't really much you can't clone at that point. So you could clone a human. It would make sense. Now I'm going to talk about this real quick. It would make sense that you would clone all these powerful people just in case you wanted to do whatever you wanted to manipulate society, right? Or whatever. Like this is a thought process. We're creative people, me and you, so we think about creative things, right? Not to say this is true, but hey, that would be an interesting thing, right? Here, why don't we clone all these rich and powerful people just in case something happens to them? Another one could pop up and be controlled, right? Mm-hmm. So the reason why I'm like, you know what, maybe I'll look into this a little bit is because that definitely did not look like Jim Carrey the other day. Or act or sound like him.
That's not him at all.
You know? No. Especially growing up, people say like, oh, it looks like him, this and that. I'm not saying he was cloned. To be honest with you, I actually lean more towards like an imposter, honestly, like a body double or something, because it looked like a mask a little bit, or it looked like something was off. It could be a clone in a sense of like the clone looks a little bit off than Jim Carrey. But I think it's more like somebody like did prosthetics or some like high level government or like something prosthetics.
Well, they also have that technology.
I know, that's why I say that. That's why I say that.
They could put prosthetics on. I mean, you look at some prosthetics on, you're like, that's clearly fake.
Yeah.
That's clearly, But if you look at the facial animations and the facial expressions that are able to be conveyed through the mask. Yeah. With the whole Jim Carrey situation, that like he's able to like convey facial expressions. Yeah. So they have this guy, I guess he's like a famous prosthetic personality guy, Alexis Stone.
Oh yeah,
yeah. That guy was like, that's their cover up story. Oh, it was Alexis Stone who was going there and receiving a reward and doing a social experiment. And now if you look at his work, it's clearly fake. Yes. Like they're very plasticky. Yeah. They don't convey any facial expressions. Yeah. Like it's clearly a mask, right? Yeah, But with the whole Jim Carrey thing, it's like this looks so real. Yeah. Like it's not this guy's work. So that's like the cover. So the cover up story is bullshit, right? Yeah. So then what's the real story? Why are they lying now? Like where's the real? Why would they come out with a lie if that's not really the situation? You know what I mean?
Well,
it's
no.
Very, very, very weird.
I do. So for people who don't know, look it up.
Yeah, look that up.
It's Jim Carrey. He did this. He was at like a Caesar Awards or whatever. I think that's what it was called.
In Paris, yeah.
In Paris. And he was on stage and he was doing interviews. Mm-hmm. And the interviews, he doesn't look 100% like himself at all. He looks like Jim Carrey, but not.
Even the way he spoke.
But that's the big thing. And the way he spoke to me was nothing like Jim Carrey I've ever seen in my life. He didn't even sound like himself, really.
And he wouldn't even say those types of things.
Yeah, exactly,
He wouldn't even be like that. Like there's a lot of videos of him like coming out against, like, he was on Jimmy Kimmel
about the Illuminati and stuff.
And people in show business were hired by the government to keep people docile and distracted. Yeah. Like, he came out and said all this stuff. And, you know, he was on, I think, a red carpet years ago saying, oh, I want to come to the most meaningless thing I can
that
come
was
to.
The fashion thing.
The fashion thing, whatever it was. You know, so he's, like, known to be against Hollywood, to be against the powers to be. And, like, he speaks out about them, you know. And the Jim Carrey that we seen at these awards was completely different. You know, it just is not his personality at all. You know, didn't look like him, didn't sound like him. So where's the real Jim Carrey? What happened? What happened to him? Yeah. Why would they do this? You know.
So my thing is this: the one of the things that I saw, like you said, he didn't sound like him, and he wasn't saying things that he says, right? Mm-hmm. The few things that he did say, like, look this, it's like a short interview. You could see it. It's probably all over. Mm-hmm. Just look up Jim Carrey imposter or whatever, and you'll find it. He goes like, I was just seeing all these things, and I'm just like dead.
Yeah, I'm dead.
When did he ever say that ever in his life? That's like something that you say when you're 11 years old. Or you're a newly born clone, or you're an imposter. Yeah. I don't know. Yeah. But that's like not something that he ever said.
No.
Ever in his life. And not his speech sounded off. Like, he didn't sound like himself. Mm-hmm. His cadence, the way he spoke was obviously very slow and like, you know, very down. Like very like monotone kind of. Trying to do it seemed like trying to do like a Jim Carrey impression, but like low energy. Which he never, even when he has low energy, he's not low energy. You know what I'm saying? Like, even when he's chill, he's still himself. And then his, like, terms, like, I'm just dead. It's like that's, like, not his personality to say that. And when he was, like, everybody was giving these speeches and saying these nice things, like, this is a weird, like, it doesn't sound like anything I've ever heard him say, you know? And I was so nervous, like, Jim Carrey's nervous? Saying he's nervous up there? What is that?
Yeah, he was like very lovey-dovey.
Yeah,
right? Like, oh my God, I felt so much love. And like, he doesn't really speak like that, Jim Carrey. Yeah. Jim Carrey's just Jim Carrey, man. Yeah. You know, I love him growing up watching his movies. And, you know, we all know Jim Carrey very, very well. And I just don't think that was him.
So I don't think it was him either, and then it brings the question like, why or where is he? Like you said, right? And what is it? I think, so here's the thing. There's some people, I'm going to go back to Roger Avery for a second, because it's going to pertain to this. He was talking about something, like, I think the Epstein files and all this other stuff, and people were like, he was saying like, people were like...
It's in the Epstein files. They're able to transfer consciousness.
Oh, yeah, all that stuff, all that kind of stuff. But this is what he was saying, like, they were talking about stuff, and he's like, I don't understand why people, like, I think somebody said, like, I don't understand why people, like, you know, people just don't believe it or, like, think it's not true or something. And he goes, and he said it in Latin, because there's a Latin quote. It's a Latin quote, but he goes, people deceive their own selves on purpose. He's like, whatever and it's like a saying, but it's like, I'm not believing what my eyes are seeing right now. I'm just like,
it's too much.
It's too much. So
it's too much. They can't handle it.
So a lot of people now, which, listen, man, I don't know. I'm not saying this is the truth.
Right.
But a lot of people, which I don't like this, and this is what we kind of talked about to the beginning of this conversation, was, this is Jim Carrey. All right, you conspiracy theorists. There's no clones. There's no this or that. All right. Okay, great. You can't. We could. You know, we don't. Cloning. That's weird. Come on. Oh, this, that, whatever, right? All that stuff. Those people just push out the way, which I don't like that kind of talk, obviously, because you're just shutting off, like we were talking about earlier. But to say that this is just Jim Carrey acting weird and having plastic surgery, I think what you're doing is like you're taking all the information that confirms it to you. And listen, that could be it. I'm not saying that can't be it. That's an option. However likely, that's an option. To say that, I think is like, it is too much for people. Yeah. It is. You're trying to. It
destroys your whole view of reality.
Yeah.
You know,
because you're like, well, whatever the alternative to it not being him is psychotic. So I'm not gonna. World, right? Yeah. So people are like, you know, that's him. It looks like him. It's, you know, it doesn't sound like him at all. Like what you just said. The big thing is it doesn't sound like him, or like it doesn't. When I say sound like him, his voice, but also how he talks. Right. Yeah. You know. Yeah. It's just off. Yeah. It's off. And
even as good.
And I was gonna say, like, you have to understand that intuition in yourself. Mm-hmm. That's why a lot of people, like we were talking about,
right?
They don't have they shut that intuition off, and that shuts down a big part of yourself.
That's a huge part of it. Intuition, what your gut says
like
to you.
Something's off about this right now.
A little fishy.
It's a little fishy. You have to listen to that.
Well, I will say this, right? I grew up with a kid. You know him. I'm not gonna say his name, but I grew up with a kid who is in the Secret Service. Yeah. Right. He protects the president. Like he knows he's. Very, very, like, he's with the president, right? Yeah. And this is when with Biden, the whole thing, because this is more than just Jim Carrey. I mean, they talk about this
Biden, big guy.
I mean, with the...
They had 7-foot Biden, 8-foot Biden.
Like, he's changing heights. Like, how are they doing this? And then they have, like, these videos of, like, his neckline, like, it looked like it was a...
The black guy, right?
Mask.
Whatever. Yeah,
it looked like it was a clear mask, you know? And his earlobes didn't match, and I was talking to my friend because I was curious. I'm like, so what do you think about cloning? And he's like, yeah, what about it? Like, as if well, obviously his phones are tapped. He can't really say too much. So he was like leading on to, I know about it. What do you like, he like as if it was a
like,
real thing.
What
like,
about it? Yeah, next question.
What about it? Like, what do you want to know about it? But I'm like, is it real or what? And he was like, there's something to it, and he kind of left it at that, And so they came out with the movie. You ever see They Cloned Tyrone?
I still haven't seen it, man.
It's with Jamie Foxx, and supposedly Jamie Foxx was cloned. And
That's what they say. Yeah,
I think his head tattoo was like missing or different, whatever it was, and they have and like I said earlier, a few times, they put things into movies, that have truth to them, but they make them funny in a way where, it's a movie. But they have some truth to it, and in the movie, they found like a whole cloning ring, like they were cloning. It was like a whole area that they had like set up for these clones, and they're doing like social experiments between them, and like if one got killed, they would like pull up in a truck and like get the clone out, and then the next day the clone would be back there. It was like really crazy.
Oh wow.
And I believe that there's stuff like that happening in the world, bro. I mean, our government is so advanced, and these people, you gotta think too. These people are psychotic.
Yeah.
Our world is ran by a bunch of psychopaths. Like with the whole human trafficking thing, the whole Epstein thing. These people, these are elite people, right? Yeah. And
so I took a piss. Vin's gonna go take 2 drags. Not drag queens, but drags a cigarette. Marlboro Reds. Yeah, so there's a lot of conspiracy talk here, guys. Or more than likely talk. And, we're doing our thing, man. This is like what we're into. And if you're not into this, really, you're not paying attention, honestly. And you're probably not watching or listening to this podcast. So, I mean, come on, guys. You're on the same wavelength, all right? So where are we leaving off? We were talking about Epstein. We were talking about cloning. We were talking about all this stuff. I mean, man, it gets really crazy. That's why, like, with the Epstein files now, if you really start looking into them, you would go crazy looking into them. All right, now I'm gonna go take a drag, and he's gonna take a piss. Joking. So